Good evening and welcome to NewsNight. My name is Addie Deal. Tonight, we'll cover all your international, national, and local news. Find out more about the protests in Iran and what recent event is fueling the flames. Also, hear more about Australia's effort to conserve its environment. We'll have all the information about the local man arrested for operating a meth lab in his home, as well as a story about a feline friend who got a chance in the spotlight. All this and more coming up on NewsNight. The death of a 16-year-old protester in Iran has sparked a fight between her family and the Iranian police as to what actually caused her death. Women in Iran have been protesting laws requiring them to wear headdresses and restricting their rights in general since September 17th, resulting in the death of many protesters and conflicts with police. 16-year-old Nika Shakarami was one of the victims in these protests. However, the circumstances around her death are coming into question. Authorities reported that she was thrown from a building after finding her body at a construction site, but Shakarami's own mother firmly believes that she was beaten to death by the Iranian police. The judiciary official reported that Shakarami's body displayed multiple fractures in her arms and legs as well as her pelvis. Shakarami's mother disagrees, saying, quote, "I saw my daughter's body myself. The back of her head showed she had suffered a very severe blow as her skull caved in. That's how she was killed," end quote. Additionally, Shakarami's mother claims that her aunt, who publicly stated that Shakarami died from the fall off the building, was, quote, "forced to make these confessions," end quote. Shakarami's uncle was making a statement on TV when a voice that was not his own said, quote, "Say it, you scumbag." Shakarami's official death certificate says that she died from, quote, "multiple injuries caused by blows with a hard object," end quote. This unfortunate event is not the first to come out of these protests, and Shakarami's family continue reaching out to share their truth about Shakarami. Marina Ovsyannikova is a Russian journalist who was placed under house arrest back in August for her protest on Russian live TV, including holding a sign behind an anchor that stated, "No war." She was charged with disseminating false information about the Russian military. The journalist's detention wasn't supposed to last much longer. However, she has now been declared a fugitive as she is now on the run. Ovsyannikova escaped her house with her daughter and has now been added to the Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs' wanted list. The nation of Australia is making new strides in protecting its rich wildlife. Reporter Ashton Harder has more on the story.
Australia is one of the most biodiverse countries on the planet, so it's no wonder that Australian officials have now committed to using about 30% of the continent's landmass for conservation purposes. Environment and Water Minister Tanya Plibersek announced the news Tuesday, October 4th, as a part of the Threatened Species Action Plan towards Zero Extinctions Program. The goal of the project is to protect 30% of Australia's land and 30% of its oceans by 2030. Plibersek said, quote, "The Threatened Species Action Plan strengthens our commitment to stopping the extinction of Australian plants and animals. Based on the input from researchers and experts from the community, this plan identifies 20 priority places and 101 priority species and will guide recovery actions that will benefit a broad range of threatened species and their habitats," end quote. Although a 5-year review process is mandated, around 50 million total hectares of land are expected to be provided under the plan. Another goal of the project hopes to accomplish reaching zero new extinctions. Plibersek stated, quote, "By protecting more habitat, we can protect the homes of these precious plants and animals and the landscapes that mean so much to Australians," end quote.
On Tuesday, October 4th, an avalanche fell in the Himalayan mountains in northern India. A group of 29 climbers were struck by the avalanche on a mountain peak in the Gangotri range of the Himalayas early that morning. The entire group of 41 mountaineers, 34 trainees, and 7 instructors were hit at 8:45 a.m. local time. The Press Trust of India reported that 10 people died in this tragedy. Rescuers pulled 8 survivors out of the snow and rushed them to the local hospital for treatment. 18 others are still missing after the search conducted by authorities in India. Coming up after the break, hear more about the first ever Native American astronaut, and also hear about a college providing its students with abortion access. Stay tuned. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, and welcome back to NewsNight. Most of the student body of the Pittsburgh Public School.
Some of the United States allies.
Thursday, the FBI was seen raiding.
Let's get started with today's forecast.
Today's high will only reach about 31 degrees.
It's looking a little cooler than we've seen in the past few weeks.
All this and more
All this and more
All this and more coming up on NewsNight.
coming up on NewsNight.
coming up on NewsNight.
New York City authorities arrested a New Jersey woman for transporting 15,000 rainbow fentanyl pills disguised in a Lego box. Authorities report that it was the largest drug bust in New York City to date. The woman, Letitia Bush, 48, transported the pills in a black tote bag with a Lego box inside, attempting to disguise the pills as Legos. Bush had been traveling from New Jersey in a rental car. However, the pills did come from Mexico, according to authorities. Bush was arrested and charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance in the first and third degrees, which are both felonies. Rainbow fentanyl, a small pill that comes in a variety of pastel rainbow colors, has become a big problem facing the U.S. today. The drug is a synthetic opiate, much stronger than morphine, and police have suggested the bright colors make children and teens the target users. Many experts disagree with that statement, however, claiming that children will not be able to afford such a drug and that the bright colors are just to differentiate the drug from others. There is a lot unknown about this drug, with experts estimating that it is commonly cut with other drugs. Rainbow fentanyl has been found in Arizona, Oregon, California, and Washington, D.C. DEA Special Agent in Charge, Frank Tarantino, said in a statement to USA Today, quote, "Rainbow fentanyl is a clear and present danger, and it is here in New York City," end quote. Rainbow fentanyl is not a new drug, with Washington, D.C. having multiple seizures of the drug over the past 18 months. However, many states are dealing with this drug for the first time. A Texas man was recently convicted for the murder of over 22 elderly women spanning the past 2 years. William Chimurmer of Dallas was charged with his second life sentence for the murder of 87-year-old Mary Brooks this past Friday. The court ruled that Chimurmer had a serial pattern of stalking the women, following them home, then after killing them would take their jewelry and pawn it for cash. He was already convicted in April for another murder and was serving his first life sentence without chance for parole. Dallas police were able to capture Chimurmer after one of his victims survived and were able to tape an interview indicating him in the attack. After 53 years since man landed on the moon, we have seen a development of diversity in NASA's astronauts. Reporter Alex Zonizer has more.
NASA astronaut Nicole Anopu Mann became the first Native American woman to travel to space on Wednesday, October 5th. Mann commanded a CRW-5 mission, where a Dragon capsule was launched to the International Space Station. Her crewmates included NASA astronaut Josh Cassada, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Koichi Wakata, and Russian cosmonaut Anna Kikina. Mann was selected in June of 2013 to be one of the 8 members of the 21st NASA astronaut class. This class was intended to focus on space station operations before possibly doing any assignments involving the Moon, near-Earth asteroids, or even Mars. Mann told Indian Country Today, quote, "It's very exciting. I think it's important that we communicate this to our community so that other Native kids, if they thought maybe this was not a possibility, or to realize that some of those barriers that used to be there are really starting to get broken down," end quote. This is only the latest honor among the numerous awards Mann has received. She has 2 Air Medals, 2 Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medals, and 2 Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medals.
Last Thursday, Barnard College, a private women's college in New York City, announced they will give students access to abortion pills next year. This announcement is in direct response to the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade earlier this year. Though reproductive health services are still legal in the state of New York, the school explained that access through them will be bolstered and protected just in case. Barnard Dean Leslie Grenage explained that their campus health providers will be prepared and trained for this healthcare measure by fall 2023. The school explained to NBC, quote, "The overturning of Roe v. Wade after 50 years will likely decrease college accessibility, result in lower graduation rates, and derail employment trajectories. It is expected that people of color and those with limited incomes will be disproportionately harmed," end quote. Multiple other institutions around the nation have announced similar measures to protect abortion access. In California, public state universities will be required to offer abortion pills. In Massachusetts, lawmakers approved a bill requiring state institutions to create abortion readiness plans for their students. When we get back from the break, we will have all the details about what animal will be rehabilitated into a local Pittsburgh river. Plus, we will give you an update on the shooting that took place in Kennywood Park 2 weeks ago. We'll be right back. The Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission have stocked the Ohio River with 13,000 fingerling blue catfish. This is the first time this has been done in 100 years, with the blue catfish being the alpha predator of the Ohio River. The restocking of this fish is due to a conservation recreation program that will bring the species back into the food chain in our rivers. In addition to the environmental benefits of these fish, fishers in the area are delighted to know that the animal will be back in the rivers once again. Gary Smith, Fish and Boat Southwest Region Fisheries Manager, said, quote, "This is a big project for us. It's restoring a major predator back to its historic range for the first time in generations. It's an important game species. Anglers are going to love this," end quote. The blue catfish begin as juveniles, only 4 to 4.5 inches long, but if the fish can survive for the next 8 years, they can grow up to 65 pounds, making them the largest fish in the river and a nice catch for any local fisher. These catfish's population has been dwindling dangerously low in the past decades due to increasing rates of pollution in Pittsburgh's rivers, making restoring this species very important to conservation experts. These fish's main prey are smaller fish already in the river's ecosystems, so there will be plenty of food for this predator. The conservation project is expected to continue for many years to come, with an annual budget of $50 to $60 million, mainly funded by the purchase of fishing licenses and taxes on fishing and boating gear. 38-year-old David Burke was found guilty of operating a meth lab. According to KDKA, Burke has been manufacturing meth and dumping chemical waste at several sites in Indiana County. In 2019, state police found Burke's first dump site in Buffington Township along Stewart Hollow Road. 4 more dump sites were found by police after that. The first dump site was said to have, quote, several acid generators and 1 pot vessels in a garbage bag, end quote. Investigators linked the dump sites together based on Burke's unique method of packing and discarding the items. The final straw was when a Walmart receipt for the medicine, Sudafed, was found at one of Burke's dump sites. Burke was arraigned on Thursday, October 6th, and released on an unsecured bail. He is facing 5 felony and 3 misdemeanor counts. Burke's preliminary hearing is set for October 18th. Almost a dozen individuals have been charged in Pennsylvania for a cruel crime. Reporter Ashton Harder has all the details.
11 people have been allegedly charged with animal cruelty of turkeys. These 7 Pennsylvania farms where the poultry pain was caused span from Chester, Cumberland, Franklin, Fulton, Perry, and Union County. The defendants work with Plainville Farms. Their job was to capture the turkeys and put them in crates so they could be shipped off to food processing plants. According to the Pennsylvania State Police, the defendants beat, stomped, and kicked the turkeys. The charges they face include 76 misdemeanor counts of animal cruelty, 6 felony counts of aggravated cruelty to animals, and 56 other related summary charges. The actions of the turkey trappers were witnessed by an employee of PETA, People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. The organization then filed a complaint that led to the investigation back in 2021. 11 of the perpetrators have been named, but 1 person involved has yet to be identified.
Market Square always has different events going down. From the Thursday farmers markets to yoga in the square, the mind behind it all is the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership. We sent class reporter Zoe Vitelli to get more information from the group about the most recent fall market for Broadcast News Reporting's Bison's Broadcast.
Our Saturday night market series runs every year from June through the end of October, and this October for the first time we have shifted our hours. Instead of 5 to 10 p.m. we moved it to 3 to 8 p.m. and that's just to go along with the autumn weather and shorter sunlight hours. All of the vendors are encouraged to decorate their booths like ours with their Halloween and fall decorations, and later in the season we have a costume contest and just get really festive with it all. On Saturday, October 29th, we have Fright Up Night, which is our Halloween-themed night market. The hours go back to 5 till 10 p.m. for that, and we're going all out. We have a Halloween-themed drag show as our entertainers for the evening. All of our vendors will have a spooky theme, and they'll be dressed in costumes. We'll have games and just everyone being spooky and festive and all ready for Halloween.
Hi, my name is Em Collins. I am the owner and artisan of M Tree Bath & Body. This is my first part of the fall market. I did the night markets before. The fall market has been really fun. I've gained rapport with a lot of returning customers, and I love meeting people that come in from out of town. It's lovely.
The fall market will only be in Market Square for 2 more weeks. Make sure to stop by and get your fall fix. Reporting for the Bison Broadcast, I'm Zoe Vitelli. Back to you in the studio.
2 weeks ago, shots were fired at Pittsburgh's beloved Kennywood Park. Now, the police have made an arrest. Reporter Alex Zonizer is here to provide more details on the case.
A 15-year-old has been arrested for the shooting of 3 people at Kennywood's Phantom Fall Fest. This comes nearly 2 weeks after the event happened. The suspect is Daryl Pearl, who is now facing multiple charges as an adult, including aggravated assault, reckless endangerment, and firearms violations. Detectives believe the shots were fired because of a fight between 2 groups of teens and concluded that there were 2 guns fired at the scene because 2 different shell casings were found. Allegheny County Police Superintendent Christopher Kern said, quote, "We're not sure what the feud is. During the shooting's investigation, continued information that was received by detectives and information we received from individuals that came forward with information that is an ongoing feud between teenagers from the Homestead area and teenagers from the Duquesne area," end quote. Police still aren't sure as to how the guns were brought into the park, but it is thought that they were brought in by someone who climbed over the fence. The second shooter still remains at large, and anyone with information should call the county police.
On October 9th, a missing businessman from Harmony, Pennsylvania, was found dead in the Allegheny River in Pittsburgh's North Shore. Todd Domino was last seen on September 28th in Harmony before being considered endangered and missing. A YouTube diving group with 2.75 million subscribers called Adventures with Purpose, specialized in solving cold cases for their channel, found Todd's body. The team of divers discovered a car and a body inside of it, which then the group contacted the police. Allegheny County Medical Examiner then later identified the body as Todd Domino. Doug Bishop, a member of Adventures with Purpose, said, quote, "The biggest thing out of this all is there is a family that now has answers," end quote. When we get back, we will give your daily and weekly Pittsburgh weather updates. Also, hear about an unexpected surprise at a school's picture day. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, and welcome back to NewsNight. Most of the student body of the Pittsburgh Public School.
Some of the United States allies.
Thursday, the FBI was seen raiding.
Let's get started with today's forecast.
Today's high will only reach about 31 degrees.
It's looking a little cooler than we've seen in the past few weeks.
All this and more
All this and more
All this and more coming up on NewsNight.
coming up on NewsNight.
coming up on NewsNight.
A Wales cat recently flashed a smile for class picture day. Ziggy, a regular visitor at Drury Primary School, joined his owners Megan and Chloe Roberts to ensure his legacy in the school's yearbook. When Ziggy, the honorary student, felt it was his turn, he effortlessly jumped onto the photo chair, looked at the camera, got his picture taken, and quickly left. The 4-year-old cat attends school with his owners every day. The headmaster of the school even described the cat's attendance record as a, quote, "excellent example for other pupils," end quote. Ziggy's mom, Emma Roberts, admits she bought a copy of his high school photo to display next to Megan and Chloe's. This past week has been sunshine and bright blue skies. Jillian Musser is here to let you know whether to expect a similar forecast in the next week. Jill?
Thanks, Addie. Unlike the beautiful blue skies we've been seeing this past week, tomorrow's forecast calls for rain. That's right, Pittsburgh. There's a 91% chance of rain and a constant cover of clouds to break the pattern of sunshine. The temperature for tomorrow is also expected to drop from the warmer temperatures this week, with a high in the mid-60s and a low in the mid-40s. By nightfall, the rain will conclude and the skies will be partly cloudy. However, the temperature is expected to drop to the high 30s. Now for this week's forecast. This week's temperatures are beginning to reflect the coming of winter, so be prepared for the temperatures to drop immensely. Ranging from the mid-60s to the low 30s, this week is going to look a bit cooler than we are used to. There will be a nice alternation between sunshine and rain, except rain showers on Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday, while sunshine and partly cloudy days for the remainder of the week. Overnight, the forecast is looking to be very chilly with temperatures dropping to the 20s. It's almost time to pull out those thick winter coats. That's all I have for this week. Back to you, Addie.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of NewsNight. If you want to see more, check out our social media pages on both Facebook and Instagram at UView Television. You can also check out more episodes on our YouTube channel or our website, uview.pointpark.edu. I'm Addie Deal, and from everyone here at NewsNight, thank you for watching and have a great evening.